Alright guys, if you're new here, I'm Banker, this is Brad, you are watching Lifted Live. We're going to come to you once a week here, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I thought of an idea.
What is it?
It's what to expect after you lifted your truck. So,
Okay.
just got my first truck ever. I just threw a 6-inch rough country on it.
Are you talking about yourself?
Yep. It's a 2005 Chevy. I'm real excited. I spent more on the lift kit than the truck is worth.
Wow. It's not a very nice truck then.
I just let it down off the jack stands. What should I expect?
When you're gonna lift an old truck like that, especially one that's probably you didn't pay much for because it's a little worn out and beat up, you're gonna have to expect things to wear a lot faster than they normally would. So on those GM trucks, you're going to be looking probably at doing ball joints and wheel bearings probably very quickly.
But I just did that when I put my lift kit in because I watched Lifted Live episode number 2 about old trucks. So I did all that. I got that.
Oh, okay. Probably hear a lot of new noises and sounds because other things are going to start showing their age quickly. And things are probably going to show up that you didn't expect or know that was bad previously.
How often do I expect to go fill up my truck?
Oh, she's gonna burn through the fuel. That's for sure.
Just a little bit?
Yeah. A 5.3 with a 6-inch lift and some 12 wides, probably talking like 11 miles a gallon.
But I got like 18 before, or I don't know. I got like, probably got 12 before, let's be real.
So you're probably gonna get like 8 miles a gallon.
Yeah, about 8. More realistic. Okay. Now let's say I've upgraded. I now have a 2016 Super Duty,
Yeah.
and I got like a 4-inch BDS on it. Excuse me. All of my worries from my 6-inch lifted rough country truck going to go away. Is my truck going to stop faster? Is it going to roll less now?
No. Nope.
But I
not.
paid twice as much for my BDS kit.
Yep. Anytime you lift a vehicle and add bigger wheels and tires, you're going to decrease the performance of the braking, the acceleration, the handling, everything, because you're going to be altering the rolling mass, the wheels and tires, and you're going to raise the center of gravity. So all of that is going to decrease when you lift the truck and put bigger wheels and tires on it, so that's something that you should definitely expect.
So what should I do to gain my performance back?
You could put big brakes on. I like those.
You do like big brakes. We have a truck in here this week with big brakes, and Brad's been all excited about it all week. So now I've upgraded to my brand new truck.
Yep.
Okay. And 6-inch lift and everything. I haven't even got my first oil change yet. What should I expect when I go to the dealership to get my free first oil change?
I don't know, the dealership might be a little concerned about your vehicle modifications.
But does my lift kit, will that void my warranty?
Legally, it can't void like powertrain warranty or other things like that, so no.
Brad, are you still running the Kenda Cleaver RTs, and how do you like them?
Yes, I am still running them. How did someone know that?
I don't know. Nick Tip knows that though.
Oh yeah, I do have Kenda Cleaver RTs on my Silverado, and I really like them for the price. I think they're awesome. I think that for the money, it's the best hybrid tire you can get, and I really like them. They're not quiet. They're not very loud at all. And I mean, obviously off-road, it's not going to be like a mud terrain. They're going to clog up and stuff like that if you really get them in wet mud. But I really like them on the road. I use the truck just for towing pretty much, and they do awesome. I really like them.
How hard is it to install a full lift kit, Bradley?
Subjective.
Let's say it's a moderately clean truck. It's something new, 2016, 2017. 6-inch lift. Let's call it a BDS.
So yeah, we'll reference here, yeah, like a 2016 Chevy 1500, 6-inch lift kit for that. I would say if you're like a do-it-yourselfer type mechanic that you do like most of your own work, it's pretty straightforward. You might be a little intimidated by the cutting. Most people are.
If you're mechanically inclined, it's probably like a 6.
And it's probably more than a whole weekend's work. I don't know. Like if you're doing it on the ground at your house.
Yeah, if you're doing it, I mean,
If you're talking like
here with tools and everything, it takes 2 days.
yeah, so I mean, you're probably talking that's a 2-weekend job probably if you're a laid back rancher. I don't know. It's definitely not fun to do on the ground because, like I said, the cutting part's not fun to do on the ground, and it's a little time consuming, especially if you've never done it before. So expect a 2-weekend job. That's how I would rate it.
German has a 2017 Silverado 1500 7-inch rough country bracket kit with the lift strut. Is there any way to make it taller?
Yes.
Can he stack?
So you could, in theory, yes, put like a leveling kit on there, but I probably wouldn't recommend it on the 7-inch rough country. I know that. I'm not too familiar with the bracket kit, 7-inch bracket kit, but I'm pretty sure, like on the 7-inch knuckle kit, you don't have too much more room to go up in terms of like your CV axle angles and all that other stuff going on. You're almost kind of maxed out at 7 inches. Is that? That's,
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
knuckle kit. I think the bracket
I
kit
don't
has a
know
little bit
exactly
more
on the
room.
bracket kit. We never really ever see bracket kits come through here. They're not super popular anymore. So I can't say for sure, but I'm assuming it's probably similar because the bracket kit probably uses the same cross member drops and diff drop probably is the same. And a lot of the parts are probably the same. So I would say yes, you could, but you probably shouldn't.
Alright, I'm gonna answer a quick question here. This is a really weird Instagram name. This just says "Don't be mad, cuz I." Feel like there's supposed to be more to that. He said, "What is the best way to get more sponsors for my Tacoma that I got a rendering for that I'm trying to get into SEMA?"
Oh boy.
So, getting into SEMA, it's not necessarily hard as long as you're willing to run all the products that companies want on these vehicles. Obviously, it has to be something newer. It's got to be something clean. But as long as you're willing to put on products and build it to what they want, it's pretty easy to get in. If you're looking for more sponsors, big IG following is a plus.
That's probably mandatory. You have to probably have
you
a
gotta
big
have
social media following.
Yeah, and we're talking over 5K, 10K or more ideally.
Yeah.
And other outlets to promote those products. You can't say I'm going to a bunch of local shows. You got to be going to every national show there is. You really got to put in the legwork to get those companies to get you products that in turn get you into SEMA. So there's not a great way of going about it other than really just promoting everything.
I think another thing that a lot of people don't know is you gotta pay usually to build the truck, right? So
Oh yeah.
if you'll see like a SEMA truck, right? And that person who owns the truck likely paid some shop to build it.
Right.
But that shop who built it is the one who like built SEMA trucks, and they do all the cool work to it to make it a cool truck that would stand out at SEMA, and it helps that shop get their name out, and they obviously will give you like a discounted rate for building the truck, but the person who owns the truck still likely pays for the work.
Yeah.
They might not pay for all the parts because they'll get sponsored the parts and stuff like that, but the actual labor to build the truck, a lot of times they pay for it. So
Exactly.
still got to expect to.
And because it gets so hard and it's such a business-oriented market, there are now companies that will literally just broker you working with companies. Like my boy Scoop over at SMG, that's all he does is get people into SEMA. But you gotta have a budget, and we're talking like minimum
Probably at least $40K.
$30,000 to $40,000 budget is what you should expect to be
Yeah.
sticking into these trucks. So it's not cheap, it's not free, it's
Yeah.
not easy, but it can be done. Oh, here we go. What is the difference between the knuckle lift and a UCA lift
Oh,
on the rough country 3.5 inch?
Oh, well, okay. Do you want to answer this?
Nope, I want you to answer. You're the suspension expert.
The difference between 3.5 inch upper control arm lift and the 3.5 inch knuckle kit for rough country for GM 1500 would be basically it's like two different ways of handling / correcting for the angles. So those kits are are non-cross member kits, so your lower control arms aren't going to move down. They're staying in the factory location. I believe the diff does get dropped a tiny bit, but it can only get dropped so much because it'll run into the cross member. So you do drop the diff. I want to say it's only probably like a half an inch, maybe even less. But anyway, the lift comes from the strut spacer, so they give you a strut spacer, probably measures about 1.5 to 2 inches tall. That's going to lift the truck. Now once the truck is lifted, you're going to have obviously those increased angles on your control arms, CV axles, tie rods, all that stuff. So what do you do to help this or help compensate for that or correct that? There's two ways. You can either get a new upper control arm, which has the ball joint clocked at a greater angle, so that at that new angle of the upper control arm, the ball joint isn't maxed out, it's more in a neutral position. Or what else you can do is reuse the factory upper control arm, but then you got to have a new knuckle that will raise that mounting location of that upper ball joint so that it's at less of an angle. It can also move your tie rod up too as well, and it can move the CV axle depending on where the hole is drilled for the wheel bearing and everything like that. So it's just two different ways to accomplish the same thing. Does that make sense?
Which one's better? And why is one only?
It's hard to say which
offered for
one's
some trucks?
better. I probably would go with the knuckle kit.
So we're getting clear, we're getting close to the end here because the men
it's
behind
past?
the guys behind the camera said we need to cut it down to a half an hour.
Well, it's been a half an hour, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been about a half an hour. So we're just gonna get one more question here, right?
Make it a really good question. Really good.
Oh, I don't have anything stellar to end it off on, but
I don't believe you.
AC has asked this question quite a few times. Frank, we cannot answer that question.
Is it inappropriate?
So AC wants to know Fox or King shocks and why.
It's a hard question to answer.
It's very hard.
I've heard this question asked many times, and I guess if you're talking about just for a lift kit for a truck, it's hard to say.
I'm gonna say
I think King probably has a little bit nicer product in terms of like the materials that they use are probably a little nicer than Fox stuff, but King is a little probably more limited in terms of I guess lift kit offering in terms of what they offer for lift kits specifically. Obviously King can make pretty much anything that you want, but if I'm talking about like lift kits that include King options, it's probably a little more limited than Fox. Fox is nice as well, but I think probably one drawback with Fox is they have a lot of like inventory issues and stuff like that, and product support isn't always the best. Like if a certain Fox coilover goes on back order, I mean I wouldn't be surprised if it's on back order for multiple months because they seem to have production issues sometimes. What is your opinion?
my opinion is based on the kits that we've done here, right? For your basic mall crawler, the Fox rides a little bit better. I think the King is more geared towards actual off-road use. I would say the Fox is a little bit softer, a little bit more valved for on-road use. But they're both amazing products.
They're both in the same tier,
Yeah.
so they're kind of like at the same level. It's kind of a little bit of a horse piece.
Yeah. I'd say
a lot of people don't like Kings too, though, because of the blue color. Obviously, like I said, King, yes, I know King will make anything you want. They'll make custom stuff, but when we're talking like off-the-shelf lift kits with these parts, they're always going to be pretty much the King blue.
Which
And
point at?
There's a King package over there is what I'm pointing at. There's a box with King coilovers in it.
Whose King coilover kit is that?
I'm not sure. There's no name on it. At this point, it could be anyone's who comes in here and takes it.
Hey.
So that's another thing to think about. Like, yeah, some people hate the blue color. I think it's kind of cool. It's the signature color. And then Fox has a little more neutral colors. They're just black and silver. Although they did change the sticker on their reservoirs now to be like orange. So they have orange on some stuff too.
Oh yeah, the Fox stuff, the new stuff's
Fox,
orange,
yeah.
yeah. The 3.0s and everything.
So same tier, kind of a horse apiece. I wouldn't get really hung up on one versus the other. pretty similar stuff. Whatever one you can get a better price on probably is what I would jump on, I guess.
Oh, Brad, always the budget guy. So,
Well, sorry, I'm not rich. I'm drinking
This man-
Busch Light, so
this man bought a C20 on his lunch break, but he's not rich.
I spent all my money on that truck. I was gonna buy King coilovers and I can't now because I bought an old truck.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's, guys. Be sure to watch this video when it goes up next Thursday and drop us a few comments about what you want to see us talk about. Brad's actually not going to be with us next week.
Why not?
Nope, we're replacing you with Jared next week. Yeah, the ginger kid. Yep. So think of those comments you want to talk to him about. We're going to discuss his Bronco, his long hair, and maybe his...
stick out too far.
Yeah.